Rebel salute to everybody who's watching. If you're not watching, that's fine. You can watch it later. This is Kenya Revolutionary. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, this is a Friday night hangout. I'm just freestyling this, but I want to talk about something. I want to talk about something because I have my friend from Azimio and we were having a discussion, and I would like to bring this discussion here online. Um, I hear them ranting and raving about, you know, the ills or the mistakes that Ruto has been making. But my question is this, how do you defeat Ruto as a political coalition? How do you defeat him? Because of course you want him out. The people are not contented with his performance as far as economics, whether it's security, whether it's whatever the case is. How can Azimio as a political coalition defeat Ruto? Because for me, it seems like they have given up in the parliament, and they were maybe banking on the judiciary, but the judiciary also seems like they're not getting their way because, as we had Raila Odinga, he was not happy with the ruling, which actually rubbished the NADCO report, saying it's not anchored in law. And so there's no way they can bring it to the parliament before parliament next week on Monday, because it's not anchored in law. So, and Raila was banking on that NADCO to be passed, ratified at the parliament, so that, and after that, that's when he wanted to actually go ahead and proceed and pick up the next commissioners. But that's not going to happen now because the judge actually has declared that NADCO report proposal to be not anchored in law. So how does Azimio deal with Ruto? Since Ruto and his political coalition, Kenya Kwanza side, they are the majority in the parliament. And so he's, as far as passing laws, it's not a hurdle for him. If anything, the only person who's stopping him is a few lawyers like Okiya Mtata who recognize the unconstitutionality of some of his policy, where he challenges him at the court, at the judiciary, like the affordable housing and so forth, so forth. But let's look at Azimio. I think they are more active online and in the media, but on the ground, I don't see any kind of movement or something that could make William Ruto lose his sleep. The problem to me is that Azimio is so fragmented, and the leaders that actually consist of this coalition have their own personal interest, which might not be aligned with the interest of majority of Kenyans. Now, if you look at Azimio Coalition, all of them, whether it's Martha Karua, whether it's what's her name, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Raila Odinga, all of them are looking at 2027 as, I'm going to be the president, I'm going to be the candidate, I'm going to be the candidate, I'm going to. Everyone wants to be the candidate. They're not speaking in one voice. When I came up and say, hey, ODM shall have their own, they shall join a new coalition. That's what he said. So how does that give confidence to other members of this party coalition who are hoping that maybe Baba shall return the favor and hand them the mantle to run in 2027? Let's start with where Azimio, actually the problem with that Azimio, where it all started. I think the whole mess with Azimio started when they put the presidential petition. They were hoping the judiciary would actually do something, look at the evidence, and rule in their favor, like Maraga did, and maybe force a re-election or whatever. But that wasn't the case. So let's start by looking at what Smokey Wanjala actually asked these guys, because when you speak to a lot of Azimio followers, they're radical in their thoughts, of course, because they are still mad about 2022. And they're almost irrational in their reasoning. They are talking about taking out Ruto. You had the whole argument, but I'm not picking on them today, but I'm just looking at the Azimio Coalition as the opposition who are supposed to actually keep Ruto in check, or at least clip his powers. But these guys seems to be having their own problems within the Azimio Coalition. Not only that, they seem to be fragmented to a point where I don't know if they're going to last up to 2027. But let's get to the court ruling, especially the Justice Wanjala, Smoky Wanjala. I think he was more, it was more interesting. His observation on this was more revealing than anything. So let's look at that, and I will come back. Let's look at this. Let's take a look at this. Okay, there you go, Smoky Wanjala.
The percentage, it's like the beginning of where the controversy is located. What is the relevance of the percentage of voter turnout to determining whether a candidate marshaled the magical number? And then back to Mr. Murgor, this staging. Again, I've been intrigued. I've been reading. If I understood you correctly, and if I understand the affidavits correctly, we are having this Form 34A. The original, which is filled, leaves the polling station to go to the National Talent Center by road, let's say, for ease of understanding. Its image leaves to go to the same destination, but this time by air. Somewhere along the line, in mid-air, the image is captured. And then all sorts of things are done before it is re-uploaded, which means, therefore, if you go to that captured image, which has been re-uploaded, you will find different content from what it had at the polling station. So to determine whether that has actually taken place, you would have to go now to the tallying center and locate that one that left by road and compare. Is it possible that that capturing in mid-air also somehow magically changes the content of the one that left by road? Okay, just because I just want to understand. Then let's get back to the 4 commissioners, because this is serious. We were informed by, I think this must have been Mr. Nyamodi, quite graphically, that the 4 commissioners were allocated roles other than those for which they were appointed as commissioners. Some were heads of protocol, I think others were media, welfare. Interesting stuff here, allocating such roles to commissioners. Why didn't they protest? Is this chairperson we are dealing with such a terror that nobody can face him and tell him you can't do this? Because now what we are hearing, these are serious disclosures. Because you can imagine I being, but because I was annoyed by, not annoyed, upset by my friend Willis for having tried to compare that way. So I'm just wondering, why is it that very serious Kenyans did not seize that chance and protest to the Kenyan people that what we are being given, the roles we are being assigned, have nothing to do with tallying and verification, and carrying out our constitutional mandate. I think this is tied to my colleague here, is why to the tail end? Because I'm sure the voter out there also wants to know. So let me leave it at that.
Thank you, Honorable President. I have a few questions, and the first one would refer to the lead petitioner, or rather the main petitioner, the first petitioner, if I may say, in the lead file, which actually initially was petition number 5, E005, right?
Before I go any further, I think Smokey Wanjala was actually raising a really good question. The reason why I bring you back to this petition is because there's still among the Azimio diehards, they still have this thing that Ruto actually stole the election. He never won. And I'm willing to give everybody a benefit of doubt, but when we start digging in and trying to see, hey, listen, okay, you say he lost the election. How did he lose the election? I mean, how did this thing happen? Like, can you explain to me what happened? Because you ask any Azimio supporter who still believe that they won the elections, so that Raila was Ali Ibiwa, and all of them will give you different reasons. One will say Chebukati actually did something at the Bomas. He actually changed the results at the Bomas. Okay, the other will tell you that, this thing, I don't know, there was, the server was actually, somebody meddled with the server. Now we understand the server was actually just a nest where the results of every, the data was actually of the results is stored. Okay, the server is not where we determine the elections. And if you were to go and if you want to verify which constituency, where polling stations, every polling station in Kenya, you can verify the results by actually looking at those forms, whether it's 34A, 34B, 34C, whatever the 34 something is. You can simply go there. Those are the forms that are legally used to for Chebukati to actually announce the winner of the election. So the server has nothing to do with it. It's just a storage unit. The server is a virtual storage unit. Okay, it has nothing to do with it. Now, if Chebukati is the guy that actually we should look at and say, the results at the polling station was okay, but Chebukati alifanya kitu huko Bomas Center. What exactly did he change? Because it is easy to prove that. We can actually just go to the polling station, go by the results that was announced at the polling station, and compare it with what Chebukati actually announced at Bomas. And we can see if there's any discrepancies. That's why Smokey Wanjala actually asked Murgor and asked him, hey, listen, there's once this form 34A or 34B, whatever the case is, which has the results of the polling station, it has been signed by the agents of both Azimio, Kenya Kwanza, and the presiding officer. Okay? All right? Thank you, Suski. Well, I don't, but thank you very much for asking. You're free to come in if you want to discuss the issue. So he asked, with all this, when the presiding officer lives physically with that form 34A or 34B, whatever, and is driving towards Nairobi or flies in Nairobi, whatever means of transportation he or she uses, okay? And the one, that same results is posted on the portal. And that same result is the one that will go to the server, okay? Anyone and anybody, everywhere, anywhere in the world could log into that portal and actually see what the result of a certain specific polling station was. For example, if Raila got 10 votes in Lugari poll station and William Ruto got 9 votes in Lugari polling station, that will be posted after it is signed and confirmed by both agents of Kenya Kwanza and Azimio and the presiding officer. It will be all signed, picture taken, posted on the portal where anyone in the world with access to the internet can actually see that. And that can be verified by the physical form that the presiding officer is going to present at Bomas to Chebukati, because Chebukati constitutionally, he's the one who declares the final results, okay? And so if we suspect that Chebukati is giving us results that does not correspond with what was tallied up at the polling station, then you can have a good case and you would have a good case at the Supreme Court. But that seems not to be the case. Mr. Suski, I'll invite you live if you want to come in. You can challenge me. I appreciate your comment at the comment section. Let me give you a link if you want to get in and say something. You feel a certain way. It's not a hate of Raila. You can say whatever you want, but that's not the case, buddy. So relax. Relax, 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 relax. Okay. There's the link, Mr. Suski. There's the link. Let me read your. I already read your. You hate Raila for no reason, and it's really depressing you. Why do you have such animosity for Raila? I don't know where to get that. I don't know Raila personally, so I don't have to hate him. I don't know him personally. He hasn't done anything for me or taken anything away from me. So I don't see where the hate is coming from. You know. So anyway, but you're more than welcome. If you want to log in, hey, there's the link. Here's the link. Link below. Click it. Here's the link below. Click it and you can get in and, you know, convince me otherwise. Tell me what you think. Anyway, so that's why I say the things started going haywire with this Azimio folks. And most of their sentiments is actually articulated by Professor Manyora. Manyora is an interesting guy, a professor who's actually really interesting. I don't rate him that much. I find his take on most issues kind of ridiculous. I don't know how that man became a professor, but he actually sums up Azimio folks. Now, remember the four commissioners who came out and said, hey, there's something wrong, Chebukati, whatever. There's a tape, actually. Mohammed Dida actually posted in his Twitter page. Let's listen in when Tuju was actually advising these 4 commissioners to come out against Chebukati. And that raises another question. Is Chebukati actually the villain? Or is it somebody else? Let's take a look and see. Listen to this secret recording that this man had going on. All right. Here's the secret recording of Mr.
Okay. Now, your security vehicles are outside. Put on speakerphone so I can explain to everyone.
Yes, it is on speakerphone.
Okay. Good morning, heroes and sheroes.
Good morning.
Okay. Now, your security vehicles are outside, downstairs. They'll escort each one of you. Each one of you has got a security vehicle.
Okay.
With 4 security men.
Okay.
The there are 3 plus a driver, but as I mentioned to you yesterday, if you have a preferred driver, then you bring your own driver.
Okay.
The allowances are taken care of.
Okay.
Yes. So you don't need to worry about the allowances, about their lunch or anything like that.
Okay.
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 So that's 1. 2, I think I'm trying to get in touch with Kulundu so that we can afford the same security.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you agree to that.
Yes, I think that's one.
Okay. And then I think it's very important that you go to the office. And then, of course, under those circumstances, should Chebukati attempt to chair any meeting, which includes you guys, you will have your meeting chaired by Cherera. He can have his meeting with the other 2. Because basically, by you walking out, it means you've lost confidence in him as a chairman. So that if there is anything he comes out with as chairman, there will be a country. Is that reasonable?
Yeah,
we think about that.
Yeah, we think about that.
Yeah, you. I mean, it's not me. It's you. I'm just throwing that on the table so you guys can discuss and decide. But it's a suggestion.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys. And if there's anything, you can tell me. There are some other confidential discussions that I'll be coming to discuss with you. Again, we'll have to agree on what time, but I think you should leave I think it's best for you guys to take lunch in the office when you leave at 5.
Okay. Wow. So you see, Tuju was trying to actually subvert the will of the people by using these commissioners to make Chebukati seems not to be credible, to mess up with credibility, Chebukati's credibility, mess with Chebukati's credibility by walking out. And you heard from that recording, which means they were trying to mess up Chebukati's credibility so that they can actually plant suspicion on the people's minds, so they can look at this election as being not fair and transparent and verifiable as the Constitution requires. So this is the second number 2. That's the reason. And the second reason. Now, given this, to me, by all evidence, it seems like the Azimio folks, headed by the machinery that was being led by Uhuru Kenyatta, okay, they were failing. They knew that they were on the losing side, and they were trying to win this election. They were the minority, not the majority. The majority of the people at the time, I'm not saying present, at the time, were with William Ruto. Because you see, Mr. Rafael Tuju was trying to get those 4 commissioners to actually discredit Chebukati's announcement, make him look like he has no credibility in whatever he's saying by walking out, which they did. And we know the rest of the story. Chebukati kept on, and exactly, Chebukati told everyone, "Listen, go to the portal, verify, use your mathematicians, see if things are adding up or not." And the question was asked with Wanjala, the same thing, you remember. Now, there's still this fallacy. There's still this prevailing idea among Azimio folks, still convinced that Chebukati alifanya hiyo kitu, so that they lost. And then now they backtracked, and now they're saying the electoral system is not working. And this is articulated by this con job called Herman Manyora. You can tell. Listen to Herman Manyora. He was being interviewed, and I'll play a clip of it. It's kind of a little bit lengthy, but not too lengthy. But it kind of help you understand how these guys are thinking. Because if somebody like Herman Manyora, who's said to be an intellectual, a professor, comes in and tells you that the electoral structure and system is messed up, and Eric asks him the right question: where, name, how, where is it in the electoral process or structure or whatever IBC that do you think that is messed up? And he couldn't answer, you know. And that's the thing with this Azimio folks. I'm not picking on you, my Azimio friends, but if you want to beat William Ruto, there are some things that you have to do, and it has to start from this. But anyway, let me play you that so you can get what I mean. Listen to this careful exchange between Eric and Herman Manyora.
Where is the problem?
The problem is that the results of elections in this country do not reflect the will of the people of this country.
How do we know that?
We know it because we live in this country and we see it, and we have it on authority. What did Judge Kriegler tell us? We have it on authority. What did the Supreme Court tell us in 2017? We have it on authority, my friend. It's not guesswork. We have it on authority in black and white.
So why does it not reflect the so-called
That's what I'm saying.
will of
Therefore,
the
we need to
people?
go and sit down as Kenyans and ask ourselves, why is this electoral system not delivering to us?
How would we be able to know if the system was delivering the results that would then be reflection of the will of the people? What would we see? How would we then say, yes, actually, the results of this particular election actually shows the will of the people? How
You
would
would
we
see
know?
the loser conceding defeat.
Okay.
So it depends on the attitude of the loser.
The loser is not an individual.
Okay.
It is a country.
Yeah, it depends on the attitude of that loser.
If you stand on top of KICC, whatever you call it, you'll be able to see the country, and you can read the mood of the country. You can take the pulse of the country. Every time an election is announced of the president.
Again, Herman Manyora is confusing his own view on the issue with the country's mood. No one was out there fighting and killing other people like 2007. So I don't know which KICC he stood up on and what he saw. But yes, in the present context, people are not happy with the government because Ruto is not delivering. Okay, maisha, bei ya maisha ni juu, iko juu. But after the election, immediately after the election, I don't remember seeing anyone coming out, burning things, fighting. That was 5 months later after Raila Odinga actually called for a mandamano. But immediately after the election, no one was actually, of course, the Azimio supporters were not happy, but none of them actually went out there and started rioting and shooting and whatever and feeling, yes, they feel aggrieved in some sense, but no one was actually out there protesting, burning things, whatever. So Herman Manyora, again, he's saying mood of the country at that point is kind of silly, but let's listen.
And you can tell there's something wrong. Even before it gets to Supreme Court, you can know. And in fact, Latif, have you ever bothered to find out why the framers of the Constitution said we could sort out an electoral dispute in 14 days? Have you ever thought about it? So when I see some people who say they are learned, saying we need to extend 14 days, I think they don't understand. They miss the point. The point is you can have a bird's view of what has taken place during an election. It can't be a contestation in a court in the normal manner when you can determine a parliamentary contest in a court, a dispute, in 2 months. How can you determine a presidential one in 14 days? It means it is expected that if you live in this country, Latif, you can have a bird's view of the situation. You can know this election was not conducted well. That's what.
Okay, there he goes again. He said, if you live in this country, you can tell that the election was not conducted well. Well, Herman Manyora, again, IBC is the body that's, hey, Brother Benson. Nice seeing you, brother. That's Brother Benson, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. If you want, you should, he's a very good person, very good channel, Brother Benson Media. Go to his channel, always very interesting. So again, here, Herman Manyora tells us that if you live in this country, you can just tell that the will of the country, the will of the people is not, where it goes. But the mistake he does is like in an election, especially the last one, it wasn't as clear as he wants to make it. Yes, Ruto had the momentum. If I remember, people felt he created this narrative that actually stuck: hustlers versus dynasty. People who aligned with Raila Odinga, he painted Raila Odinga and Uhuru as the sons of the rich. Okay, given the fact that they are advantaged because they are the sons of the forefathers, our forefathers, like Oginga Odinga's son and Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's son. So they are privileged. And he was a hustler and he was stood up, and it resonated with the most people. It did resonate. Some people had their difference because like me, I was still disgruntled with Raila Odinga for the handshake that he did in 2017. And they felt like Raila was actually did us wrong, okay? Abandon us, abandon the struggle. So the momentum was with Ruto, but there was no way of telling. I could not stand in top of KICC and say with conviction that Ruto was going to win 2022. I could have not said that, okay? The IBC, we have to actually go vote, okay? Registered voters, vote, count the votes, each and every vote, then tally them up and see who actually won. You can't just stand on top of KICC and say, oh, Ruto won, oh, Raila won. You can't do that. So I'm not buying this premise, this argument that you can stand on top of KICC and say, oh, this one won. Now, historically, there are some elections where we could tell. 2007, it was clear as day. Raila had the momentum. It was all the provinces against Central Province, okay? It was clear. 2002, it was all the provinces against the Rift Valley people in rejection of Moi. Those were clear. 2017 was clear. You could tell it was all the country against Rift Valley and Central. It was clear, okay? And Maraga confirmed it by nullifying the election because it was not what? Verifiable, transparent, and what? Whatever, okay? Whatever says, okay? The Constitution says, all right? So I'm not buying that argument. With this 2022 elections, it was not as clear as Herman wants us to believe. Now, right now, as we're living now, you can argue that because people are not happy with the government's policies. That is true now. But when you were going to the election back in 2022, that wasn't the case. In fact, Ruto had the momentum. People actually sympathized with him because they felt like he was being ostracized by Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga and being humiliated. So that is why. But let's go on.
That's what 14 days means.
That's what Ndu is asking you. How can you tell? For example,
Yes.
apart from the one that you've quoted, the 2002, and you have said
Yes.
the reason why many people were okay with the result outcome in 2002
Yes.
was because of the overwhelming nature
Yes.
of the support for one candidate.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
One of those candidates. Since 1992,
Yes.
has there been any election apart from the 2002 one where you can say that there has been an overwhelming support of a single candidate, where then you would know that, this is the candidate with the most overwhelming support, but this is not the candidate who's been declared?
It is not overwhelming in the sense of knack, but you can get a sense, you can get a feeling of where the country is headed, the direction the country is taking.
Would you say that, all right, let's even go into 2013,
Yes.
2017, 2022, that there is an election where the candidates who've gone into that election, any of them, you could look, press the pulse of the country and all, and say that this candidate has 52% of the electorate.
You can have a feeling of who won the election.
I'm asking.
Even then, you can have a feeling of who won the
Can I
election.
ask-
But
Is
that is now, let me
is there
explain.
any
You
of
can-
those
yes,
three
yes, you can
elections
have a
where-
feeling, but you see, that's a very subjective one.
Absolutely.
Because of the 52%. You know, there's something we are talking about is 60 plus. 52% is something subjective. And this is how now the Supreme Court comes in. When you go through the Supreme Court, it removes all doubt now. Even before they tell us their verdict, having listened to the presentations in court, it should confirm to you who won the election. IBC to me is a small bit. We need to look at, for example, let me just give you.
That's a very interesting observation. He said, if you listen to the petitions, okay, at the Supreme Court, it can easily tell you who actually won the election based on the arguments that are being presented by both sides of the issue. He's right. He's actually right. If you listen to the questions that Smokey Wanjala asked Murgor, and if you listen to the questions that he asked the other side, you can actually tell if Azimio had a strong case or not. Right? We can agree on that, Herman Manyora. Thank you.
Practical reasons why I think IBC should come last. We need to start by looking and asking ourselves, even at that lower level of just managing an election, we ask ourselves, do you need a full-time commission? How come countries with millions, hundreds and hundreds of millions of voters, where a Kenyan politician, the Kenyan population is not enough to provide election officials in India? The entire population of Kenya is less than the number of people required to run an election in India. Okay? How come they could have 3 commissioners? And how come they may not even be full-time? And why? What is the role of IBC commission vis-a-vis the secretariat? Those are issues to ask. Secondly, why would an election be managed from Nairobi? And the law itself states that voting takes place at the polling station and ends there. Why are we not reading from that? Why don't we find a way of decentralizing the management of elections to county?
And that's where he makes mistakes, because he actually doesn't understand how the election works. Actually, it is decentralized, and Latif will actually correct him. And that's why, again, Haman Manyora, anyway, just listen to it.
And even ward level. Okay? So when you begin to interrogate yourself, then you now get perhaps to a point of, okay, fine, we have now the structures, election has been decentralized, commissioners are part-time, there are fewer than 9. Okay, so what is the next point? Okay, we are now voting. What does Muga do when is it CIA or whatever it is? Those are now the details you can get to. Yeah, later.
The one question that is never addressed in this country is the one of the server. Never. It is talked about, it is asked, and yet that ought to be the most transparent, because that is where all the elections, all the votes, everything is nestled. So if someone says yes, here it is.
But you see, Timuga, what's the point of the server? The server is neither here nor there. Where is the server in this the whole mass? I've been scratching my head to find out the role of the server.
The reason why
elections take place
at the polling station.
At the polling station, and it ends
not
there.
on a server.
Yeah, not on a server.
The reason why the server becomes a subject of debate is because it is where
Nyungu.
Nyungu, yes,
Nyungu.
Yes, it is where everything else is nestled.
Why is it going there? That's for records only.
Yeah.
Yes, but the records are a reference point, are they not?
No. City, the record. The
We
record.
don't declare even a winner from the south.
No,
The record is the
no.
warehouse that has the physical ballots.
Look, the server is our electoral system electronic.
No, it's not.
When results are relayed to the tallying center, is it physically or electronic?
Physical.
Both.
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 Which tallying center?
That's just
The National Tallying Center. It is
telling
both.
what are you? That is just look here. Let me say,
Look,
City Muga.
I
want you to help politicians in this country.
There's no such thing as National Tallying Center. The tallying center happens, the tallying of the votes happen at the constituency level, at the polling station. It does not happen at the BOMAS. BOMAS only just verifies and announces, and Latif will correct them there.
please. Tell the politicians elections take place at the polling station.
Period.
Period. The president is declared at the polling station. Period. Hii ingine yote ni story.
Telling.
You know,
That's why I'm saying, and listen to me carefully. Let us not bother who becomes a commissioner. After all, they will be bribed if there's bribing, and they will be relevant. Many of the people Raila has complained against were put there by Raila. He defended them. He put them there, but they turned against him, including his own people. So let's not depend on the people at the top there. Let us decentralize our electoral system. Let us have people with a say at the county level, at the ward level, at the management level. Now we go to the polling station. Now you have, this is what I got. This is what Latif got.
But that's what we
Nobody can change it.
You had Latif there. You can watch the whole interview at Spice FM, and that's what Latif actually corrects. After that clip, he corrects Manyora and tells him, "Hey, that's what we have. We have a decentralized system where the counting happens, all the tallying and all that stuff happening at the polling station. After that, as I say, the agent of the Kenya Kwanza and Azimio and the presiding officer, they sign to verify that, okay, this candidate got X, Y, and Z, and this candidate get X and Y, Z amount of votes. Then, presiding officer takes a picture, relays it on the portal, while he takes the original form and takes it to Nairobi at Bomas. So by the time he gets to Bomas, you know, the people who are, if you're in Canada or Antarctica or whatever the case is, Australia, Kisumu, Nairobi, you can actually log in the on the portal and see every polling station what Ruto got, what Raila got. Okay, so Chebukati receives the original Ninio there. He verifies and says, okay, they count it all. Wanaangalia based on every polling station in Kenya, and they announce the winner. It is not the system that's the problem. As Latif will say, if you go watch that whole interview, I won't play it again because I had a video of it. But I'm building a case here by saying, and I agreed with Latif, that the problem is not the structure. It's not the system. It's not the electoral system that's the problem. The problem is the actual politicians. And I'm not saying that it's only Raila that has the problem, because if the elections was to go the other way, you would see Ruto also in the Ninio saying the very same thing that Raila is saying, which is the system is broken, the system is whatever, Chebukati alifanya ile kitu, but actually that's not the problem. We have a good system that is verifiable, transparent, and all that good stuff, as the constitution requires. So what I'm saying is this: the next step, the problem, the reason why Azimio cannot beat William Ruto, we have to, as an Azimio, if you're an Azimio fan, you have to recognize the mistake you did. You have to stop wasting time arguing, telling people that Chebukati aliwanyang'anya victory. Stop it. Move away from that. It is not anybody's fault that you lost. Election evil. What you can blame it on, part of the reason, number one, what I think, Raila aligning himself with Kenyatta was the number one mistake. That's the number one mistake. Even if I was Raila and I had that handshake, the thing he would have done, was have that handshake and distance yourself from Kenyatta and say, hey, listen, I had a handshake with him for the sake of peace. But ile mambo ya sijui ile sasa, it's like you're the government now. He was actually an official government person, after they ostracized Ruto. Ruto had all his functions were with Matiang'i. Okay, so if he could have distanced himself from Uhuru Kenyatta, because Uhuru Kenyatta had a bad rap. These problems that we're facing today, most of them actually were really, really started under Uhuru. You can name it, okay? And Uhuru was not people's favorite. So once Raila akashikana na Uhuru hivi, that's what the problem is. And a lot of Azimio folks were right to question this. Why was Uhuru not actually parading Raila in Central Province. Anyway, so the point that I want to make with all this, why I'm running, you have to get into terms. That's the number one thing. Get into terms with the fact that you actually lost the elections. Because if you cannot, 2027 itafika. If you lose again, okay, this will be the same thing that will happen. The same, you'll be frustrated the same way. I don't know what's going to happen in 2027, but it will be like a norm. Okay? You have to, kama kuna shida, Kalanchori, and I'm about to play Kalanchori. Kalanchori mentioned why Azimio lost. I think Kalanchori was more credible person than anybody else. He said that we did not have enough agents everywhere in every polling station, unlike the Kenya Kwanza side. Okay, and so if you don't have a polling station in, let's say, Lugari, it's only Kenya Kwanza and agent and the IEBC agent. Maybe wanaweza kusikizana ati Ruto amepata 10,000 hapa na Azimio amepata 200. You see what I'm saying? Kalanchori was very, I think that's the person that we have to look at instead of actually blaming Junet. Okay, Junet has some blame to take, Akulipa or my agents, so it makes sense. It makes sense to be mad at him, but you have to recognize where you went wrong. If you lose an election, recognize, take whatever, what do you call it? Take a whatever to see where you messed up, instead of sticking with this to Libiwa. It won't stick. It actually makes you ridiculous, okay? And it makes Azimio look irrational. If you start saying, we want to Libiwa, but if you actually examine the case, there's no way you lost. Okay, there's no way you won. Excuse me. So what I'm saying is this: the number one, if the road to actually beating Ruto, if you really want to be, if you're not interested, then that's fine. Mutaenda, the rinse, repeat, and go on. So that's number one. Recognize that you lost fair and square. And the reason why you lost is that marriage between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. In fact, Kalanchori mentioned something very, 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 very important. In his view, in his book, and he had an interview in Spice FM where he mentioned that, in his opinion, the Jubilee part of the coalition took over Azimio as far as the electoral process was concerned, the monitoring of the elections, okay? And when they took over, they're the ones who dropped the ball. They are the ones who dropped the ball. It's as if they were assisting Ruto to win. That's what Kalanchori said, okay? So those are the people who you have to pay attention to. And maybe Azimio have started doing this because, as you can see, Raila Odinga is on the ground recruiting. That's a good step. Okay? Because ukianza mapema, safari ya kesho unaanza leo. I think they learned from Ruto when Ruto started campaigning early. But have your agents. Now, let's move forward. Another reason why you cannot beat Ruto. Another reason why. You need to straighten out the coalition, the strength of the coalition. Strengthening the coalition. What do I mean strengthening the coalition? As of right now, start as early as possible and decide who is going to run in 2027. Start as early as possible. As early as as possible. Reason why? Let me tell you, reason why. If you wait till, let's say you wait till 2026 or 2025, 2026 or 2025, okay? Kumbuka, if you stay Azimio like this, ati mmenyamaza tu hivyo mmenyamaza, alafu ikifika hapo the end of 2025, then you said, okay, Raila will run again. Guess what will happen to Kalonzo Musyoka and Martha Karua? They'll change. What are defects? Tusema, mimi nimengoja hapa, I thought mimi ndio utapewa mkono, and then they might even go to the other side. And that will disrupt the core unity of the Azimio Coalition. So it should be clear as early as today who is going to run in 2027. It should be early as right now, because if you do it right now, let's say, for example, if you choose Kalonzo, let's say you say, all right, Raila Petani Mkono, aseme Kalonzo is going to stand for 2027. Yes, people can clown Kalonzo. Yes, watasema Kalonzo, he's not even that strong of a. But if Kalonzo starts now, okay, start campaigning for him, not as aggressively, but pole pole as you build up towards 2027. Now, what you can do is this. Now, if you've chosen him, let Kalonzo be the one. Unaona kama in England, you see when they stand in the parliament, even though we don't have the same system, that one is strictly parliamentary. But I'm just saying, for every issue, you see how Raila Odinga, when he usually comes out to the press conference and tells us about, the G2G deal, anything that's happening that's not right with this government, he always speaks up. Now, let Kalonzo, once you pick him as the next candidate, let him be the de facto leader of the opposition. Okay? What do I mean? I was going to use the example of the British. You know how they have the questioning session where the prime minister is brought to the parliament to answer questions? And guess who usually asks the questions? Of course, the other MPs usually do so, but the leader of the opposition usually, anauliza maswali the president. So in this case, let's say if you if you decide Kalonzo is your man, Kalonzo Musyoka should now be the face of the opposition. He is to counter everything that Ruto is doing wrong. Address mambo ya ID, whatever, sorry, not mambo ID, but mambo ya pay, whatever, something, paying through the online, the school fees being paid online. Tell the people why you think it should not be so, okay? Emphasize on that. Mambo ya nani kushikana na trying to influence the judiciary. Mention that, okay? Let him be the face of the Azimio, the opposition, the official face of the opposition. So from the get-go, now he can start comparing notes against who? Ruto. What Ruto is doing and his plan for the country, a counter plan. So that way you're propping him. It's like he's the other president. He's the other president now. Okay? It's almost like he's the president of the opposition. We have two presidents. Build yourself in stature. And all the Azimio folks should actually rally around him. Okay? Kama ni wakina Babu Owino, Sifuna, everybody up to the people in Bunge la Wananchi. So it is important. So that way, if you choose Kalonzo today, while all those people who are disgruntled, who are not happy about that choice of Kalonzo, can actually leave the party now. Okay? Msingoje mpaka last minute ndio waache alafu wakimbie. Waache watoke ndio hata wakitaka kwenda huko kwa Kenya Kwanza. Waacha waende. Let us know your enemy right now. You have to know who is with you right now. Mujue nani atasimama na nani yako na sisi, because the soon as Azimio chooses who will be running in 2027, that's when we shall have a real true test of all these coalition leaders who will stay and who will feel betrayed and who will leave. Okay? Because Kalonzo wants to stand, Karua wants to stand, Wamalwa wants to stand, Raila is being told to stand. But if you choose right now, you can know who is who and who is happy, who will stick around and who will not stick around. That's what you have to do. But the problem is, now you can see the ODM are doing their recruitment peke yao. They're doing their peke yao. Okay? Wamalwa is talking about I shall run. Yule mwingine naye anasema ati I shall run. Sijui nani I shall. So they are fragmented. And a divided house cannot what? A divided house cannot stand. That's why you see Ruto is doing whatever is doing, and there's nothing they can do about it. Even in parliament. Look at the parliament. Who does Jubilee stand with? Okay? Some people are saying Kenyatta still has Jubilee. Some people are saying Sabina Chege has Jubilee. Who has Jubilee? Who is controlling Jubilee? Sabina Chege? Kanini Kega? Is it Kioni? Kioni is in Kamwene. Who has Jubilee? They can't even sort that out yet. So Azimio is fragmented in every sense. Even though Kenya Kwanza is messing, but on the other side, they're not even together. You cannot beat Ruto if you are not together. Now, the third one, you should not, one day, and this is the last one, one day, you should not associate yourself with the mess, Ruto, this government. I know he said that ODM might have a new coalition partner in the future. I hope it's not Kenya Kwanza. I hope it's not Kenya Kwanza. If it's Kenya Kwanza, that will be the death of ODM. It will be the death of Azimio, and it will be the death of ODM. And actually, it will be an opportunity for another party to rise up, another to rise up. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, friends, and comrades, this is Kenya Revolutionary. I just wanted to say that because I feel like Azimio as a coalition need to do a house cleaning before the next election. And it should be done now. Clear yourself of the dead wood. Those people who have ulterior motives, interests, let it be known. Expose them. And the only way you can expose them is by actually choosing one candidate that's going to stand in 2027. That will expose everybody. Okay? So, why Azimio cannot beat President Ruto? Number one, they're still in denial. They still think, somehow tutaenda maandamano na tutamtoa Ruto. We won. We actually won. Fungueni sava. It's not going to happen. Number two, you have, if you're going to think about 2027, you have to start now. Or else, Jimmy Wanjigi want to start this maandamano in March. This will end up in government of national unity. A majority of Kenyans are not looking forward for any referendum or any form of government of national unity. You have to know that. You have to know that. Okay? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, friends, and comrades, it's been a pleasure. My name is Kenya Revolutionary. If you're looking at this video, please like, share, comment. But I need you to like it and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, if you're looking at this for the first time, you don't know who I am, subscribe. You'll see me here every day, almost every day. Not every day, but almost every day. You'll see me here. I will bring you the next topic every freaking day. Okay? Don't forget, tomorrow I'll be here. I'll be earlier tomorrow so we can chambua siasa. But I'm saying I'll try to bring a guest. I have a guest who I'm working on. Is somebody known in Kenya. Very controversial. I will not say his name because I don't want to keep my hopes up. It might actually disappoint you if it turns out that they don't show up. But I'm working on it. I might have that person tomorrow. If not tomorrow, Sunday, this weekend. Because, people are always off on the weekend. So we can actually collect notes, share ideas, and see how we can actually help this country. Because I always tell my Azimio friends, listen, this is the easiest president to actually unseat. Okay? But if you guys are fragmented, if you're only heckling and making noise in mandamanos, you're not going to take him out. You're not. You have to have people who are principled, who are ready to see him out. You cannot do that by going to the streets. You don't have the majority. You don't have the majority. Yes, there are a lot of people, most of Kenyans are not happy with him, but I don't think they're ready to, they actually want to see him out. Or maybe they want to see him out, but they're not ready to actually go out in the streets and take him out. That's what I mean. So you have to jipanga mapema. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, friends, anyways, this is Kenya Revolutionary. If you haven't subscribed again, make sure you subscribe, share, like, comment, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace and blessings, okay? I'll see you tomorrow.